Introduction. Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, also known as the Global Goals, were adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015 as universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. No poverty is one of the 17 sustainable development goals. The official wording is to end poverty in all its form everywhere.
Introduction to social poverty. Social poverty includes people groups that are undervalued and have few rights. A social poverty is the easiest to spot for people who have been silenced and didn't have the rights. So, mo ni among grupo sa mga katilingban nga nagsuong sa kalisod o mga ubos sa bili. So, wala na hapit bili. Like, something na sila kinahanglan sa ibutan tala sa gobyerno niya. Ma-invalidate sila kaya di sila hapit matagad. And these are the peoples nga less mo demand kay sa wala sila'y katungod hapit. So here we have the goals of contents, 4 goals of contents. So first, definition of social poverty, which will be discussed after the slides. Then the issues of social poverty, cause and effects of social poverty, and the 3 persons that should act to transform the world that will be discussed later on.
Definition of social poverty. Poverty is more than the lack of income or resources to ensure sustainable livelihood. Its manifestations include hunger and malnutrition, limited access to education and other basic services, social discrimination and exclusion, as well as the lack of participation in public life. A social poverty is the practice of undervaluing and undermining the rights of people. Oftentimes, social poverty is easy to spot when there are people that are marginalized, whose rights are minimized, and who are usually oppressed. Issues of social poverty. Hunger, illness, and thirst are all symptoms of poverty. Lack of access to water means that you are poor. And being poor means you may not be able to afford water or food. For example, poor health, inadequate housing, and child abuse are all causes of poverty or violence, fuel a cycle of poverty in which so many end up trapped for life. The causes and effect of poverty are often interconnected so that no single problem can be addressed in isolation. Poor sanitation, for example, makes disease more likely to spread. Hunger and lack of water makes people more vulnerable to them. In the end, many underprivileged populations are subjected to discrimination and lose hope for a better life. Causes of social poverty. First, inequality. Inequality is a term that is sometimes overused to describe systematic barriers that prevent groups from having a voice or being heard within their communities. Economic and social inequalities based on gender, caste, race, or tribe men as the same thing. Little to no access to the resources needed to live a full, productive life. As a marginalized community faces all of these vulnerabilities and hazards, it is even greater risk of falling into cycle of poverty. Second, conflict. We've seen how long-running violence can grind down society, weak infrastructure, and cause refugees to flee. In Cyrus' 10th year of conflict, the middle class has all but been destroyed. There is no monetary or social welfare system to support it. There are now more than 80% of Americans living in poverty. Third, education. Not everyone without an education lives in extreme poverty, but most of the extremely poor don't have an education. There are many barriers to education around the world, including scarcity of cash for uniforms and books, or many of the opposite causes the poverty mentioned here. But education is usually mentioned because the greater equalizer, because it can open the door to jobs and other resources and skills that a family must not survive but thrive. Poverty threatens education, but education also can help end poverty. Fourth, lack of infrastructure. A scarcity of infrastructure, from roads, bridges, and wells to cables for light, cell phones, and internet can isolate communities living in rural areas. Living off the grid often means living without a power that travel to high school, work, or market to shop for well-sell goods. Traveling farther distances to access basic services not only takes time, it costs money, keeping families poverty, isolation limits opportunity. Without opportunity, many find it difficult, if not impossible, to flee extreme poverty.
So next is the effects of social poverty, or it's like a cycle of the effects of social poverty. So first, poverty additionally has social consequences. Yeah, mas daghan sila og bisag ubang nga problema, like sa mga tao nga luag-luag sa kinabuhi. And then many human beings residing in poverty are homeless, which places them at the streets. So makita pa sa nato ninyo tanan kasagaran nga kasagaran gid sa mga nagkalisod or mga pobre gid nagid daplin sa daan kanang mga naghigda sa kilid sa mga malls inana. So next, there additionally appears to be a connection among poverty and crime. So kanang nasila'y connection sa mga crime kay tungod sa kalisod manghilabot na lang nana mangawat para makakaon, which dili sa siya valid nga reason. So next, when human beings are unemployed and homeless, social unrest can also additionally take over and result in an increase in crime. So the more nga wala kay trabaho, the more nga tambay ka, the more sad ka matintal sa mga butang nga illegal, kalihukan nga illegal nga mao say noy nagapataas sa case sa krimen nga which is di gid maayo gid dinuon. So next, when human beings don't have anything and no cash to shop for necessities, they'll be pressured to show to robbery with the intention to survive. So, mo to akong giingon ninyo ganina, like, kanang sa tungod sa walay ka kwarta, sa gipit jugistanan, mabuhat na lang og daotan para maka-survive, makakaon. So, di sa siya valid reason para mo hinungdan sa tong kinabuhi. Kay, di man siya maayo. So next, homeless and excessive crime cost effect of a country's human beings and might create many troubles inside the society. Yes. So, um, yes, kas dinhi na musud ang mga butang nga physical which is makadaot nya makadamay sa dog mga inosente gyapon nga tao. So samok siya sa katilingban. So next, it is apparent that poverty has far-reaching consequences on all human beings. So next, by enhancing worldwide poverty, economies should prosper, fitness should enhance, and nations can grow to be robust worldwide presences. Then lastly, all nations will advantage while reducing worldwide poverty turns into a concern within the sad world. And yeah. Second, the world's companies, organization, and non-profits. And lastly, the government.
Individuals, especially youth, make a contribution to their expertise, competencies, and power to the network in bringing innovation to the agriculture section. They can assist to create double manufacturing and fertilizers to assist rapid germination. We dose their profits and assist them to break out from the intense poverty.
So next, the world's companies, organization, and non-profits. The sectors, corporation like Food Panda, AirAsia, Google, and Extra can adapt to the concept that have been contributed through the youth. For instance, Food Panda has collaborated with Ruma Hope in a program called Sponsor a Meal, in which clients have been advocate to sponsor a meal for the less fortunate. So I have another example over here called Action Against Hunger. Action Against Hunger is an organization that has been working in the Philippines since 2000. Since then, it has aided a total of 300 and 2014 Filipinos in poverty to improve various aspects of their daily lives. In particular, the organization has reached 2,000 people with nutrition and health, 221,820 people with water and sanitation, and 73,207 people with food and security livelihood programs. Action Against Hunger also focuses on community-led initiatives within the areas affected by armed conflicts and natural disasters. So not just poverty or whatsoever. Thank you.
The government. Malaysia authorities has taken numerous initiatives and present plenty of incentives to the Malaysians. Effective techniques taken by the government are elevating the minimum wage, household living aid or BSH, economic stimulus package and more. Plus, there are plenty of schemes for the family to enroll in if you want to analyze a few capabilities and use it to break out from the poverty. Conclusions. In summary, poverty is not a problem for one person, but for the whole nation. In addition, it must urgently be taken into account through the implementation of effective measures. In addition, eradicating poverty has become necessary for sustainable and inclusive growth of people's society and land and economy. Also, wealthy countries must work together and help poor countries. Millions of people die worldwide as a result of poverty. Children in poor countries suffer from malnutrition due to lack of food. Let us all do our part in reducing poverty. Let us all make a difference and transform the world. Let's end this poverty together.